Melissa?
Daddy's serving up biscuits and gravy.
That's one of our best. That's hot. Do you really want two of them? I don't think you want two of them.
The gravy has bacon, pork sausage, and onions. The kids are gonna play Pie Face. I've only let them play this one time since we've had it, so they're excited.
4. Go. Put your head in, Ella. 2, 3, 4. I'll be good. 4. 1, 2,
Those guys.
3, 4.
Oh!
Oh, that was so lucky. 5.
Uh-oh.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, it already did it. It just missed you. It went down here.
What? Knock it off. Oh. I knew it was I hope I get 5. Guys, next time we should put on. We're gonna add a lot. If I have fun, I want to hit it in my face. No, put your head all the way through. Hold on. Put your head all the way through. And see you get hit with that. All the way. Okay. That's enough. Here, roll the dice first. 1. I'm going to get all they do. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8,
Oh no!
Eva, it's your turn. I just said 3. I never got smacked yet. I never got smacked yet. Yeah, Hans. Ooh, I got it. No, roll it. 1. 5. 3. Okay, 3. Come on, put your head in.
Are you scared now since you already got hit?
Ava, you go. No, I want to do it.
Your head just like,
Okay, good. Yeah.
3.
Good.
1. No, let's leave it on there so we don't waste anything. I hope you get hit. 1, 2. No! Ready? 4.
Your eyes. Are you a ballerina?
Yeah.
Can you dance? Are you gonna dance?
Yeah.
Oh, you have tights on?
Yeah, Kiki.
Can you dance?
No.
Genesis 15, the Lord's covenant with Abram. Afterward, the Lord spoke to Abram in a vision and said to him, Do not be afraid, Abram, for I will protect you, and your reward will be great. But Abram replied, O sovereign Lord, what good are all your blessings when I don't even have a son? Since I don't have a son, Eliezer of Damascus, a servant in my household, will inherit all my wealth. You have given me no children, so one of my servants will have to be my heir. Then the Lord said to him, No, your servants will not be your heir, for you will have a son of your own to inherit everything I am giving you. Then the Lord brought Abram outside beneath the night sky and told him, Look up into the heavens and count the stars if you can. Your descendants will be like that, too many to count. And Abram believed the Lord, and the Lord declared him righteous because of his faith. Then the Lord told him, I am the Lord who brought you out of Ur of the Chaldeans to give you this land. But Abram replied, O sovereign Lord, how can I be sure that you will give it to me? Then the Lord told him, Bring me a 3-year-old heifer, a 3-year-old female goat, a 3-year-old ram, a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. Abram took all those and killed them. He cut each one down the middle and laid the halves side by side. He did not, however, divide the birds in half. Some vultures came down to eat the carcasses, but Abram chased them away. That evening, as the sun was going down, Abram fell into a deep sleep. He saw a terrifying vision of darkness and horror. Then the Lord told Abram, You can be sure that your descendants will be strangers in a foreign land, and they will be oppressed as slaves for 400 years. But I will punish the nations that enslave them, and in the end they will come away with great wealth. But you will die in peace at a ripe old age. After 4 generations, your descendants will return here to this land when the sin of the Amorites has run its course. As the sun went down and it became dark, Abram saw a smoking fire pot and a flaming torch pass between the halves of the carcasses. So the Lord made a covenant with Abram that day and said, I have given this land to your descendants all the way from the border of Egypt to the great Euphrates River, the land of the Kenites, Kenizzites, Cadmonites, Hittites, Perizzites, Rephates, Amorites, Canaanites, Girgashites, and Jebusites. Chapter 16, the birth of Ishmael. But Sarai, Abram's wife, had no children. So Sarai took her servant, an Egyptian woman named Hagar, and gave her to Abram so she could bear his children. The Lord has kept me from having any children, Sarai said to Abram. Go and sleep with my servant. Perhaps I can have children through her. And Abram agreed. So Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar, the Egyptian servant, and gave her to Abram as a wife. This happened 10 years after Abram first arrived in the land of Canaan. So Abram slept with Hagar, and she became pregnant. When Hagar knew she was pregnant, she began to treat her mistress Sarai with contempt. Then Sarai said to Abram, It's all your fault. Now this servant of mine is pregnant, and she despises me, though I myself gave her the privilege of sleeping with you. The Lord will make you pay for doing this to me. Abram replied, Since she is your servant, you may deal with her as you see fit. So Sarai treated her harshly, and Hagar ran away. The angel of the Lord found Hagar beside a desert spring along the road to Shur. The angel said to her, Hagar, Sarai's servant, where have you come from and where are you going? I am running away from my mistress, she replied. Then the angel of the Lord said, Return to your mistress and submit to her authority. The angel added, I will give you more descendants than you can count. And the angel also said, You are now pregnant and will give birth to a son. You are to name him Ishmael, for the Lord has heard about your misery. This son of yours will be a wild one, free and untamed as a wild donkey. He will be against everyone, and everyone will be against him. Yes, he will live at odds with the rest of his brothers. Thereafter Hagar referred to the Lord who had spoken to her as the God who sees me. For she said, I have seen the one who sees me. Later that well was named Bir Lahai, and it can still be found between Kadesh and Bered. So Hagar gave Abram a son, and Abram named him Ishmael. Abram was 86 years old at that time. Chapter 17. Abram is named Abraham. When Abram was 99 years old, the Lord appeared to him and said, I am God Almighty. Serve me faithfully and live a blameless life. I will make a covenant with you by which I will guarantee to make you a mighty nation. At this, Abram fell face down in the dust. Then God said to him, This is my covenant with you. I will make you the father of not just one nation, but a multitude of nations. What's more, I am changing your name. You will no longer be Abram. Now you'll be known as Abraham. For you will be the father of many nations. I will give you millions of descendants who will represent many nations. Kings will be among them. I will continue this everlasting covenant between us generation after generation. It will continue between me and your offspring forever. And I will always be your God and the God of your descendants after you. Yes, I will give you all this land of Canaan to you and to your offspring forever, and I will be their God. The sign of circumcision. Per part of the agreement, God told Abraham, is to obey the terms of the covenant. You and all your descendants have this continual responsibility. This is the covenant that you and your descendants must keep. Each male among you must be circumcised. The flesh of his foreskin must be cut off. This will be a sign that you and they have accepted this covenant. Every male child must be circumcised on the 8th day after his birth. This applies not only to members of your family, but also to the servants born in your household and the foreign-born servants whom you have purchased. All must be circumcised. Your bodies will thus bear the mark of my everlasting covenant. Anyone who refuses to be circumcised will be cut off from the covenant family for violating the covenant. Sarai is named Sarah. Then God added, regarding Sarai, your wife, her name will no longer be Sarai. From now on, you will call her Sarah. And I will bless her and give you a son from her. Yes, I will bless her richly, and she will become the mother of many nations. Kings will be among her descendants. Then Abraham bowed down to the ground, but he laughed to himself in disbelief. How could I become a father at the age of 100, he wondered. Besides, Sarah is 90. How could she have a baby? And Abraham said to God, yes, may Ishmael enjoy your special blessing. But God replied, Sarah, your wife, will bear you a son. You will name him Isaac, and I will confirm my everlasting covenant with him and his descendants. As for Ishmael, I will bless him also, just as you have asked. I will cause him to multiply and become a great nation. 12 princes will be among his descendants. But my covenant is with Isaac, who will be born to you and Sarah about this time next year. That ended the conversation, and God left Abraham. On that very day, Abraham took his son Ishmael and every other male in his household and circumcised them, cutting off their foreskins exactly as God had told him. Abraham was 99 years old at that time, and Ishmael his son was 13. Both were circumcised the same day, along with all the other men and boys of the household, whether they were born there or bought as servants. Chapter 18. The Lord appeared again to Abraham while he was camped near the oak grove belonging to Mamre. One day about noon, as Abraham was sitting at the entrance to his tent, he suddenly noticed 3 men standing nearby. He got up and ran to meet them, welcoming them by bowing low to the ground. My lord, he said, if it pleases you, stop here for a while. Rest in the shade of this tree while my servants get some water to wash your feet. Let me prepare some food to refresh you. Please stay a while before continuing on your journey. All right, they said. Do as you have said. So Abraham ran back to the tent and said to Sarah, quick, get 3 measures of your best flour and bake some bread. Then Abraham ran out to the herd and chose a fat calf and told a servant to hurry and butcher it. When the food was ready, he took some cheese curds and milk and the roasted meat, and he served it to the men. As they ate, Abraham waited on them there beneath the trees. Where is Sarah your wife? They asked him. In the tent, Abraham replied. Then one of them said, about this time next year I will return, and your wife Sarah will have a son. Now Sarah was listening to this conversation from the tent nearby, and since Abraham and Sarah were both very old, and Sarah was long past the age of having children, she laughed silently to herself. How could a worn-out woman like me have a baby, she thought, and when my master, my husband, is also so old? Then the Lord said to Abraham, why did Sarah laugh? Why did she say, can an old woman like me have a baby? Is anything too hard for the Lord? About a year from now, just as I told you, I will return and Sarah will have a son. Sarah was afraid, so she denied that she had laughed, but she said, that is not true. But he said, that is not true. You did laugh. Abraham intercedes for Sodom. Then the men got up from their meal and started on towards Sodom. Abraham went with them part of the way. Should I hide my plan from Abraham? The Lord asked. For Abraham will become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth will be blessed through him. I have singled him out so that he will direct his sons and their families to keep the way of the Lord and do what is right and just. Then I will do for him all that I have promised. So the Lord told Abraham, I have heard that the people of Sodom and Gomorrah are extremely evil, and everything they do is wicked. I am going down to see whether or not these reports are true. Then I will know. The 2 other men went on toward Sodom, but the Lord remained with Abraham for a while. Abraham approached him and said, will you destroy both innocent and guilty alike? Suppose you find 50 innocent people there within the city. Will you still destroy it and not spare it for their sakes? Surely you wouldn't do such a thing, destroying the innocent with the guilty. Why, you would be treating the innocent and the guilty exactly the same. Surely you wouldn't do that. Should not the judge of all the earth do what is right? And the Lord replied, if I find 50 innocent people in Sodom, I will spare the entire city for their sake. Then Abraham spoke again. Since I began, let me go on and speak further to my Lord, even though I am but dust and ashes. Suppose there are only 45. Will you destroy the city for lack of 5? And the Lord said, I will not destroy it if I find 45. Then Abraham pressed his request further. Suppose there are only 40. And the Lord replied, I will not destroy it if there are 40. Please don't be angry, my lord, Abraham pleaded. Let me speak. Suppose only 30 are found. And the Lord replied, I will not destroy it if there are 30. Then Abraham said, Since I have dared to speak to the Lord, let me continue. Suppose there are only 20. And the Lord said, Then I will not destroy it for the sake of the 20. Finally Abraham said, Lord, please do not get angry. I will speak but once more. Suppose only 10 are found there. And the Lord said, Then for the sake of the 10, I will not destroy it. The Lord went on his way when he had finished his conversation with Abraham, and Abraham returned to his tent. Proverbs 2. The benefits of wisdom. My child, listen to me and treasure my instructions. Tune your ears to wisdom and concentrate on understanding. Cry out for insight and understanding. Search for them as you would for lost money or hidden treasure. Then you'll understand what it means to fear the Lord, and you will gain knowledge of God. For the Lord grants wisdom. From his mouth come knowledge and understanding. He grants a treasure of good sense to the godly. He is their shield, protecting those who walk with integrity. He guards the paths of justice and protects those who are faithful to him. Then you will understand what is right, just, and fair, and you will know how to find the right course of action every time. For wisdom will enter your heart, and knowledge will fill you with joy. Wise planning will watch over you. Understanding will keep you safe. Wisdom will save you from evil people, from those whose speech is corrupt. These people turn from right ways to walk down dark and evil paths. They rejoice in doing wrong, and they enjoy evil as it turns things upside down. What they do is crooked, and their ways are wrong. Wisdom will save you from the immoral women, from the flattery of the adulterous woman. She has abandoned her husband and ignores the covenant she made before God. Entering her house leads to death. It is the road to hell. The man who visits her is doomed. He will never reach the paths of life. Follow the steps of good men instead, and stay on the paths of the righteous. For only the upright will live in the land, and those who have integrity will remain in it. But the wicked will be removed from the land, and the treacherous will be destroyed.